KWT slaying.
Salama family, salama. How y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. I want to start off with John 10:27-28. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. And I give unto them eternal life, and they shall never perish, neither shall any man pluck them out of my hand. There's a sophisticated plan, as I mentioned in the previous show, against our people. And as expected, I expected to get some pushback, which, hey, I'm cool with that. But if y'all remember, during the time of the lollipop, Tell Ministries was one of the few people warning against it. If you remember that, give me a 1. If you don't, give me a 2. But Yeshua says, my sheep hear my voice now. I'm not saying I'm Yeshua. What I'm saying is, I read his word and I'm led by the Spirit and I can hear. Can you hear him speak? Why do I say this? Because some people think they're going down the correct path, but they're on the wide path. Some people think they're going down a narrow path, but they're on the wide path. Well, Yakoba, how do I know if I'm on the wide path or on the narrow path? Okay, that's easy. Let's look around here for a second. Where is everybody going? Is everybody going down the path of the alphabet? Or is everybody going down the path of holiness? Come on now, family, help me out now. You ought to know if you're on the wide path. Is everybody going down the path of the alphabet? Or is everybody going down the path of holiness and righteousness? Wide path versus narrow. Another question, and we're talking about today, the current times, the modern generations. Are we moving more towards them folks as opposed to our folks? Are we marrying more them folks, or are we marrying our folks? Are the Israelites marrying Gentiles, or are the Israelites marrying themselves? Where's the wide path? Where's social media? Where's advertisements? Where's the movies? Where are they pushing you towards? You marrying them folks. Now, what's happening is the process called social engineering. Social engineering is a term which has been used to mean top-down efforts to influence particular attitudes. What? Influence attitudes, social behaviors, can we say alphabets, on a large scale, most often undertaken by the government, but also carried out by media, academia, or private groups in order to produce desired characteristics in a targeted population. Is the behavior geared towards black folks marrying black folks? Or is the targeted behavior black folks marrying white folks? Not even Chinese and Mexicans, mind you. The targeted goal is for black folks, aka Israelites, descendants of the slave trade, to marry them folks. Your oppressor. Well, you go by knew you was a racist. This is not going to be a long show, but I had to cover some stuff. What I'm going to talk about right here is a comment I got on one of my videos. Don't worry, person. I removed your name. But if they can find it if they go back. All right. So it says, even if I disagree on some points Jacoba has made in this lesson or video, I still agree with him at least 98%. I'm surprised it's that high. I can care less what an individual that I have never had any deep connections with besides humor, as far as a certain race thinks about me, because they most definitely do not know me. That being said, I still have yet to get a definitive answer to my many comments and opinions I posted on this channel. Well, I didn't see it. You can't assume I saw your comments and post unless you send me an email. And stop assuming that because someone disagrees with certain things you say on your channel means they are ignorant of the word of the Most High God or refuse to acknowledge it. Did I ever say that? You are in error on that assumption. I didn't make an assumption. Anywho, what is it to be said about those who make decisions that have nothing to do with propaganda, TV, YouTube, videos, brainwashing, etc.? Well, you assume you're not brainwashed. See, that's the complexities of the process. You don't know when it's happening to you. Some people just like what they like. Some people like what they like. Some people like what they like, family. If a so-called black woman or man is only, listen to this now, only sexually, intellectually, physically, mentally attracted to a white man or woman, you're saying that God says that they will go to hell because they are not all of those things with a black man or woman? Well, first of all, I never say nobody going to hell for marrying them folks. You ain't never heard that out my mouth. But notice, only physically, sexually attracted to the other them folks, not your own. So my question to you is, if you feel like this particular commenter, if you feel that way, that tells me you got internalized hatred for yourself and your people. If you're only sexually, intellectually, physically, mentally attracted to a white man, because this is a woman, I assume, that we're talking, you hate yourself and you hate your people and you hate your daddy, assuming your daddy black, and you hate your grandpa, assuming your grandpa is black. It's self-hate. You don't think you've been manipulated by TV, YouTube, video, brainwashing, propaganda? At least for me, when I was young and I was in high school, I liked who I liked. I didn't date them folks, but hey, if I saw a fine white chick, I say, hey, man, she fine. I wouldn't mind hooking up with her. That was before I knew who I was. I was attracted to Hispanic girls, black girls, white girls. If you was fine, I was attracted to you. Hey, I only hooked up with the sisters, don't mind you. Back then, during my time, it was not popular to hang out with them folk, which I'm glad now that I'm awake. But that tells me that there's something wrong with this individual when she says she's only sexually, intellectually, physically, mentally attracted to a white man. Why not say who's ever fine is fine, whoever look good, it looks good, whoever smart is smart? I'm just saying. That tells me right there, you've been brainwashed. Because when I was growing up, if she was fine, she was fine. I didn't care if she was white, Hispanic, black, Mexican, Asian, whatever. I care today, though. So then she or he should just stay celibate because the pool of choices for them are now made obsolete according to the not according to the Bible. Well, you say you need to stay celibate because you only like white folks. You don't like black folks. That seems a personal problem to me, and it doesn't seem like it has anything to do with the Bible or what I said yesterday in the show. You don't like your own. I personally have not ever been wanted or desired to be with a black man in any way except for buddies, friends, or acquaintances. See, that's brainwashing. That's brainwashing. This is due to my personal experiences as an observer in various situations, environments, experiences, and actual observations in my life. See, she been brainwashed. Because guess what? You know, you got all shades in our people group, right? In our family. You got darker than dark if you like it chocolate. You got lighter chocolate if you like lighter chocolate. You got brown, you got caramel colors, you even got vanilla. You got all the colors of the rainbow if you cool with that. If you want kinky hair, you got kinky hair. If you like slick hair, you cool with that. If you want curly hair, guess what? You got black folks with curly hair. You want black folks with blue eyes, you can find black folks with blue eyes. You want black folks with green eyes, you can find black folks with green eyes. Guess what? We got it all across the board. So you got rich black folks, you got poor black folks. You got Christian black folks, you got Muslim black folks. You got black folks who in all kind of things and endeavors, but you don't find no comparison, no connection with a black man because you have experienced it. Somebody make it make sense. You got all these options in the black community, but you can't find that one. You got to go over to them folks. I'm just saying. I found nothing appealing sexually, intellectually, culturally, responsibilities, respectfully, honorably, protectively, loyally, faithfully, stably, trustworthy, to even have an inside feeling of wanting any relations with them. Who? With black folks. She black. I'm just sorry. I'm like, it don't make sense. It seems like she got issues to me. I'm sorry. You've been brainwashed. Can we say Auntie Ruckus? I don't mean to be mean. I'm just sorry. You seem to be a typical brainwashed type of person. And it has nothing to do with the damn news or being fed untruths. I've seen and experienced with my own dang eyes what most of the black men do to their so-called own women, children, boys, babies, families, communities, and folks outside of their own race. Okay, well, I wonder what lens she's looking through. Is she looking through the lens of white supremacy? Because that's what it sounds like. You ain't going to see nothing good about black folks if you're looking through the eyes of white supremacy. I grew up in a nice family with a mom and a dad, with sisters and a brother and cousins and aunts and uncles. We barbecued. We went to the park. We went on vacations. We did all the great things. Everybody in my family is educated. My dad has 2 master's degrees. I ain't going to get into the rest. But everything you think you could find, you can find in the black community. But hey, you're not attracted to us, are you? You're not attracted to your daddy, are you? Assuming he's black. You're not attracted to your grandpa, assuming he's black, because you've been brainwashed. It don't make no sense other than the fact that you've been brainwashed. She's speaking of her own experiences, and statistically, I don't know what statistics she's looking at. Stop ignoring these facts and covering them up with Bible verses. Okay, so now the Bible don't matter. I'm covering them up with Bible verses to try and guilt trip black women into doing what so many others have already done throughout the decades so that they too can be miserable. While the men just keep on abusing, being irresponsible, and abandoning their own families, flesh and blood. Okay, most black folks I know did not abandon their children and their kids. Most black folks I know have a mom and a dad in the family. Most black folks I know, children have gone to college and higher level careers. Most black folks I know are stable and sound minded and not on drugs. Most black folks I know don't beat their spouse. So, what lens are you looking at us with? What community has you grown up in? What group of people do you hang out with the most? Because apparently you don't hang out with black folks because you don't know how we live. I'm just saying. It looks like an Auntie Ruckus to me. Because you're speaking on your own experience. Well, you don't have much experience around black folks. Yeah, we got people who grow up in the hood. We know family members who are in the hood. And guess what? We all know how to get along with people in the hood. It's just that way. We know how to walk when we walk through the hood. We know how to carry ourselves. So I'm like, okay, are you comparing everybody to everybody in the hood? Everybody ain't from the hood. And everybody who in the hood ain't bad. I'm just saying. I have a lot of friends from the hood. So anyway, she said statistically as well. So like I said, I wonder what statistics she's looking at. Stop ignoring these facts and covering them up with Bible verses to try and guilt trip black women into doing what so many others have already done throughout the decades so that they too can be miserable. So it's miserable being with with a black man and not a white man. While we see white men chopping up people, chopping up 19s. Y'all know what I'm talking about. While the men just keep on abusing, being irresponsible, and abandoning their families, flesh and blood, but white folks don't do that. While hiding behind Bible verses, no woman in her right mind is going to be physically, emotionally, sexually, spiritually, mentally, intellectually attracted to an evil man. So all black men are evil now. We're evil now, guys. Did y'all know that? Hey, fellas, did y'all know we evil? Give me a 1 if you knew we were evil. Give me a 2 if you know we the righteousness of God in Christ. What say you about a black woman marrying and believing Gentile who will more than likely get into those pearly gates over most of the Most High's black men? Ooh, sound like Auntie Ruckus to me. Most of the white men gonna get in before the niggers. While they chopping off limbs, deleting their spouses. Come on now. They can't just leave you alone. They impregnate you and try to chop your head off or cut your throats in Africa. I'm just saying, but we the problem, guys. We the problems. The Negroes. I hope you didn't think this was going to be a nice show. What say you about black women marrying a believing Gentile? Well, what does the Gentile believe in? White Jesus? Or does he believe in the Jesus of the scriptures? Does he believe in the Yeshua of the scriptures? I'm just asking. Who will more than likely get into those pearly gates over most of the Most High black men? How does she come to that determination? Can we say Auntie Ruckus? Auntie Ruckus? See, I need my brother Karis on here for a second because I need Uncle Ruckus' voice. Yeah, praise white Jesus. Yeah, the white man, the best man ever. Better than them black man. Praise white Jesus. What about the Jesus of the Bible? What about Yeshua, who said, I come not but for the lost sheep of the house of Israel? That's his family. That's his people. That's culture. That's black. I'm just asking, what about the Jesus who said, I come but for the lost sheep of the house of Israel, to the Jew first, then to the Gentiles? But you say, them white boys getting in before us, the ones who committing mass deletions around the planet, the ones who messing with our food, air, water, the ones who stole our land, the ones who shoot us in the streets, but they getting in before us. To me, if a black woman must, according to the Bible, marry a man of her own tribe and she's not attracted to him in any way, shape, or form, then she has the option to stay single, free and happy, or marry this dude and take on strife problems, which is basically the equivalent of rape. Do you hear that, guys? Do you hear that, sisters? Black guys, all we good for is beating, leaving, causing strife and problems, and grapes. I'm a black man, if you didn't know. Did I answer your questions now? You say I never answer your questions. Did I answer your question now? This is, yeah, this is mental illness.
My Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure. And this is my perspective. So I thought that this was a very appropriate one to bring up at this point in time. That there's a video here where this particular man talks about how offended he is when he meets divestors or when he goes on dates with them, particularly, you know what I'm talking about, black women that chase and pedestalize white men. And he has some really choice words. I don't think that he curses at all here. Well, a little bit. I think he does say one or two words. But I think it's really interesting to listen to what he's saying. And this is why we don't respect bed wenches and divestors. I'm not going to waste too much time. Let's go.
Her basically fawning.
Man talks on black women who interracially
white
date.
Guys are somehow perfect. I'm just so sick and tired of it. Because I was approached by a black woman recently through social media. She said she liked me. I was like, okay. You know, I took her out for a date. And the whole thing, the whole date, was just her basically fawning over me. Not because of who I am, because I'm actually a shit person. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not I really don't think I'm a great individual. I messed up a lot in my life and I regret it. And though I'm trying to improve, I'm in no way worthy of this kind of flattery. I'm not deserving of anything like it. And the whole thing was because I was white. So, to say I was offended, yeah, I think I was. Because that's the only thing that mattered, was the fact that I'm white. We are not the best dating option. Dead serious. There's other people out there. And I know for a fact, black women, there are black men who are, as just in character, are better than I am. They're nicer than I am. They have a superior disposition when in public. Much more patient than I am. I want black women to have a lot more self-respect than they do now. Kind of just like worshiping white guys. Again, we aren't deserving of any kind of flattery. We're no better than black men or Hispanic men or Asian men. A lot of us have personal issues, gripes we still have yet to deal with.
Can we say like racism? But she make black men the vein or the bane of society. But she not brainwashed, family. She not brainwashed, family. She make black men the bane of society.
What the American public has always tried to do is to accommodate me into a system which is always meant to my death. They want me to become an accomplice to my own murder. That is what you really mean by integration.
See, the system wants us to delete ourselves. See, that's what y'all don't get. Just like I warned y'all about the lollipop, some of y'all listened, some of y'all didn't. I'm warning you about what's happening with interracial relationships. And like I said, I don't have no dog in this fight because I don't care. You want to date them folks, that don't affect me at all. It affects us as a nation. Our nation will not build itself up. We won't trade with each other. We won't protect each other. We won't defend each other because we don't identify as the same people. You don't understand what's being done to you. You don't understand that you're being manipulated. You don't understand that they're separating you from the only people who will stand by you when all hell breaks loose. You don't understand that what they're doing is separating us so we will never come together, which is why they separated the man from the woman. Kept the man out the house. Now, black women don't like black men and black men don't like black women. Come on now. It's an agenda. It's an agenda. But we continuously get gaslighted. We're continuously told it's the black man's fault, it's the black woman's fault, blah, 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 blah. Can I say bullshit? I'm sorry. Excuse my language, but I'm tired. I'm tired of it. I ain't no pastor, so don't hold me up to no pastor standard.
I grew up in a world where overt expressions of that were not acceptable. You weren't allowed to generalize on the basis of race because the assumption was each person is an individual. I don't understand when it became okay to generalize about racial groups.
I think while some people have the luxury to be raised only being told to look at individual people, it should be no surprise to you that black people, in particular black men, have been taught forever that they have to be careful how they behave around white people, that the way they behave will be interpreted differently, that when they misbehave, it'll be punished differently, that if they laugh too loud, if they walk into a nice store. So with all due respect, Tucker, what was true for you has never been true for lots of people.
I mean, there are a lot of ways to respond to that. One, on a factual basis, and in truth, in a lot of places in this country, the main threat that African Americans face is not from white people, as you perfectly well know.
So I first want to respond to the first comment. I think is while it's true that, of course, people of color face threats from other people of color, it's also true that white people face the overwhelming threat from white people. That is,
right.
People face threats from who they live beside. So
That's
I
right.
find
exactly.
But I think it's fair to point out that we oughtn't be distasteful and say things like, well, the great threat. It does feed a certain uglier narrative that we don't want. But
why does the truth ever feed a, quote, ugly narrative?
It is deeply suspicious that people are so quick to say things like the main threat facing African Americans is other African Americans, but you never hear anybody say the main threat facing white people is white people.
So you say, for example, I will have to discuss with my boys whether they can truly be friends with white people. History has provided little reason for people of color to trust white people.
And the argument I make is, look, in a country where it turns out that when the most vulnerable people of color are under threat, those who they count on are nowhere to be seen. If we have a president who marshals forces of hatred and anger and divisiveness and frankly, just danger, if the people who call themselves your friends are not going to push back against that, then maybe you can tell me why it is I should trust those people. When those who count themselves as your friend see that others put you in danger,
right?
It is their opportunity to prove they're your friend. It's fine to be friendly with them, but these are not your friends. We live in a country where we oughtn't pretend that these divides have not consistently been on racial grounds. And we see that over and over and over.
That's true. I agree.
When Black people are in danger from, say, addiction, we get policing. When white people are in danger from addiction, they get rehabilitation. When Black people don't have jobs, we get stories about why we're making the wrong choices. When white people don't have jobs, we get a presidential campaign about the forgotten class.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So I have a question. Give me a one if you're familiar with the Kendrick versus Drake beef. The Kendrick versus Drake beef. Give me a one if you're familiar with it. Give me a two if you're not. Now, what's blaring obvious about this is that Drake is a half breed, right? Drake is half-ish and half Negro, half-ish and half Hebrew Israelite. Kendrick straight up Hebrew Israelite. Now, I personally believe they both work for the Luciferian order because they work for this entertainment industry. So one of the things I was curious about, I said, is this organic or is it marketing purposes? I say, if this is a psyop or some kind of marketing thing, the way these things usually turn out is the way that it turned out.
Is following a developing story out of Toronto where police confirmed that they are investigating an overnight shooting outside of the home of rapper Drake. Here's a live look this morning at the scene. This is outside 21 Park Lane Circle in North York, well known to be the home of the Toronto-born rapper. Details are still very limited at this point, but police confirmed that they were called to the home around 2 o'clock this morning after reports of a shooting. One man was rushed to hospital with serious injuries. Police have confirmed to City News that the victim is not Drake. You can see a ton of police tape as well in this area, evidence markers as well laid out on the ground. And this is a look from our chopper as well at the home from above. You can see that there is police tape as well surrounding the front door of the property. We know that there was a suspect who fled in a vehicle, but so far there is no description available of that suspect. Our Karen Seolin is headed to the scene this hour. Stay with us here on BT as we continue to follow this.
So it happens like I thought, right? Remember during the time of Tupac and Biggie and P. Diddy and them and the whole East-West Coast thing. And, they had built up this antagonism between the two. And then guess what? Somebody gets shot. Same thing. Build up this hype of anger and frustration. And the light-skinned brother against the dark-skinned brother. The straight-up Hebrew Israelite against the half-ish person. They built up the beef, and all of a sudden, pew-pews. Now, once again, they don't come with a new script. Same old script. Why could I predict that this would happen? Why? Now everybody looking at Kendrick. Well, Kendrick grew up in Compton, and Kendrick probably sent one of his boys. What, to Toronto? Really? You're not even allowed to have guns. You might have hunting guns, but during the pandemic, they took away those. So how they got that weapon in Toronto? It's a psyop. Well, Jacob, what's the purpose of it? What's the purpose of the psyop? It's called divide and conquer. See, because we're about to have civil war in this nation. And you know what's going to happen? White folks going to be with white folks. Chinese gonna be with Chinese. Mexicans gonna be with Mexicans. And Negroes gonna be by themselves. Because like the person in the commentary that I introduced, she don't like black men. So she's not gonna help a black man, and black men not gonna want to help her. Black folks gonna say the women mad at us and we mad at the women, so we ain't gonna help each other. So while all them other folks are uniting when all hell breaks loose, black folks gonna be stuck on the side again by themselves with everybody coming at them with their pew-pews. It's an obvious setup. Everybody can see it. That's why they get mad at me and think it's all racial when I talk about our inheritance. Talk about how Israel's supposed to marry Israel. Because you're not going to keep an inheritance if you're marrying Becky, if you're marrying Billy. You're not going to keep an inheritance within our community because it's going to their community. Ask Kobe Bryant. Now I'm going to put this link out there. Get a few comments. I'm not going to be on here long. I want to see what y'all think about this. But I would have to say this. Kendrick won. Kendrick won the battle. I'm sorry, Kendrick won. Now, I like some of Drake's stuff, but Kendrick won. BBL Drizzy took the cake there. BBL Drizzy is the bomb. It was fire. I ain't gonna lie. BBL Drizzy was the bomb. BBL Drizzy is the bomb. It was fire. I ain't gonna lie. Hey, brother Eric. I ain't gonna lie. BBL Drizzy have to mute yourself. Yeah. Hey, brother Eric.
Shalom, Yakoba. Can you hear me?
I hear you, my brother. How's it going?
Blessings to you. Keep up the good work, bro. Listen, man. If it's one thing that piss me and make me blood boil, is this kind of foolishness. I ain't gonna be long, because I might start to cuss over this nonsense. I used to ride the train to school. And I'm gonna tell you, you're sitting across these same folks that do this stuff, and you don't even have to see them with the next people, them folks. But they looking and staring at me. Now, I've always been a good-looking man. Good-looking youth. Ain't nothing wrong with me. Dress nice. But I could feel that energy. And because of the color of my skin, the ones that look like me, they give me this look like I'm not worthy. Who the F are you to think I ain't worthy? And then I see the ones sitting next to them. And they look up at me, roll them eye, gawk all in their face. They freaking God. Who the F are you? These people are the same people that cost us 40 plus years in the wilderness. These traitors. I'm going to call them just what they are. They traitors. And they disgust me. Because you're disgusting. You lay down with these folks and you spawn with them. You let them put their filthy member in you. That's what I said. Their filthy member, you let them stick in you. You're disgusting. You lay next to them and you hug and gawk in their face. And you snuggle up next to them. These are the same people that raped your grandmother, your great-grandmother, your great-great-grandmother. That hung your grandfather, oh Lord, on a tree. That skinned him alive. That ate him. Don't worry. They're going to bury you in the backyard too. They're going to chop you up too. Say the wrong thing. One day.
You mean she might get cut up like that 19-year-old who was dating that white boy?
Just wait. Keep breathing. Keep breathing. You better look him in his eye like he the best thing next to sliced bread. You better look at him, because the moment you say the wrong thing, you're going to be dirt food too. You're going to take the long nap. You're going to cover you with dirt in the backyard or sprinkle your members in the ocean and like they do all the rest of them. He's going to riddle you with bullets. And what you going to do in that moment? What you going to do in that moment? You're going to still look at him? Oh my God, my wonderful white man. Oh, what have I done to make you so angry with me? You a bed wench nigga bitch. That's what you are, and that's what you're always going to be to me. I just use you. I just want to get my jollies off on you. You was never good enough for me. When you don't realize they was never good enough for you. If you knew who you was, you are a queen. Did you know you didn't even have to walk? Did you know they carried you? Do you ever see those people that they carried in the little, that they got the men carrying them in the chariot? That was you dumbass. You was treated like a queen. But you want to rub his...
Well said, brother. Anything else, Brother Eric? Can't hear you. Can't hear you, Brother Eric. So, Coach Roebuck, you're going to have to show me your face because you haven't been on here before, so I don't know who you are. Okay, all right. You can hide it now. You can hide it now if you want.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to keep my thoughts short. I'm not as angry as the other brother. How can I put this? Dating our enemies is the equivalent of being molested by a neighbor and then dating his sister. It's not a good look. And then there's biblical scripture. You might have to help me out here. I think Numbers chapter 20, dozens of Israelites, they were in the wilderness and they decided to lay up with the Moabites. A disease came, wiped out thousands of them. And the only way that stopped, a fellow Hebrew walked in a tent with his Moabite girlfriend, and one of his brothers came from behind, slaughtered both of them. And then it stopped. And then there's another scripture, the books of Nehemiah. He ripped his clothes off because he got word that, hey, all these people, they done laid up with foreign women. And then they wrote their names down in the book, some of them. And now fast forward to today, our enemies, in case for those who's been under a rock, their birth rates, their fertility rates, it's plummeting very quickly. And that's the real reason why some of these state legislations like Alabama, they overturned the Roe versus Wade, not because of women's rights, but because their birth rates are falling. They're dying as we're speaking. And here we have dozens of our people marrying our enemies. They're keeping them alive. All right. We're trying to finish. Well, I got to watch what I say here. Let's word things differently. The Most High is intervening on our behalf. And all these people who want to go lay up with these people, they're in the way as far as I'm concerned. And I predict they're going to get taken out. They're going to be removed from the equation. You know, I would rather stay with my own people with all the problems that we have. than to mix with these people. Look at what they've done to us.
It don't make sense.
No, it doesn't. I'm in the lines of, if those of our people who haven't woken up by now, I'm inclined to say they're not going to wake up. They're going to perish in their sleep. Now, even the Bible says only a remnant of us is going to get out of here.
Yeah.
So that's all I had to say, brother. This is a good topic. It's sensitive for a lot of people. A lot of people don't like this subject, most often because they're laying in bed with our enemies. They're sitting back walking with our people during the day, and then they turn around. They're not only laying with our enemies at night, they done married them, had children with them. They skip right over the biracial people. They don't want them, but they gone straight to our enemies. It's foolishness.
Yeah, and I give people the benefit of the doubt, not knowing who they are. But to me, once you know you're Israel, there's no excuse. That's my opinion. Now, if you're already in covenant with them, that ain't my business, right? I can't tell you to do nothing. But before then, it makes no sense.
Yeah, and maybe I'll give the benefit of the doubt if one of our people was adopted by a white family and they relocated to Utah or Idaho, stripping them of their identity, and they grew up in that environment, or even West Virginia. I'm from West Virginia originally. That place is like 97% white. And most of our own people who identify as our own, they're biracial, a lot of them. And maybe I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but for most of us, we don't have an excuse. Most of us have been through the ringer.
I agree, because most of us know what racism is on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And they want us to ignore everything they do to us and have done. That don't make no sense.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense. Why would you procreate with a group, just like you said in one of your previous shows? Why would you procreate with a group of people, their children, they're only going to get to know one side of their family?
Exactly. It makes no sense.
No, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. It's absurd. It's asinine, especially under these circumstances. But yeah, I'm going to land my plane here. I got to get back to Babylon.
All right.
So thank you for letting me on, brother.
Thanks for coming on, Coach. Pride of Judah, how's it going?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Great. So I have not been here for the entire live, but I got an idea what you're talking about. And I did respond to your video yesterday regarding interracial marriage. And my point that I made in the comment section of your video yesterday was that there's a huge wealth transfer going on also when we marry interracially. Because the people in the higher income levels are not living in Black neighborhoods, they're not sending their children to predominantly Black schools. They're not socialized with other Black people. They're almost like a fish out of water when they come back into our spaces. So as a result, they're more comfortable with the Caucasians or the Gentiles that they are acclimated to. And it's quite natural to see them dating and then marrying Gentiles because that's all they grew up with. But when they do that, they're also being handed down the wealth that their parents created. So when we have a case where we have athletes or businessmen or celebrities that make a lot of money and are in a position to have influence over the balance of the Black community, they take that wealth and all their assets, and then they go into Caucasian spaces, Caucasian neighborhoods, and that's where they raise their children. And it's a form of self-hate. It's them, not all of the cases, but in a lot of cases, they're trying to distance themselves from all the baggage that we have as a Black community. But all communities have baggage, and that's what they're not recognizing. And to me, it's a double injury, because when we come up and pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, the first thing we want to do is to take on this attitude that in order for me to excel, I must acclimate to the Gentiles. And our community is the only community that does this. There's a Chinatown for a reason. The Chinese moved to Chinatown so that they can shop at their own stores, acclimate with their own people, patronize their own businesses. But we don't seem to get this. We're not doing this as a community. And it's due to a lot of self-hate. There is a war going on between men and women. And it transcends racial groups. I can't worry about them, but we as Black women and men need to start listening to one another and having some open and honest dialogue so that we can work together to build strong Black families and to build a stronger Black community. And I'm going to land my plane right there because I'm at work and I got to go.
All right. Thank you, Prada Judah. Well, fam, whether or not you like this show or not, what was said had to be said. There's an agenda afoot and we're targeted. And the reason why we don't get along and we don't unite is because it's by design. And if you don't believe that, then that's your problem. Do your own research. But you have to understand that our community is in dire straits. Our lives are at stake as a nation. They're trying to delete us, but you don't believe it. Millions of people are already gone. And a lot of people are being made sick. They're ill. They're poisoned. And I wonder by who? I wonder who controls the means of access and access to wealth and access to homes and access to the skies and access to the foods and access to the education and access to the entertainment industry. I wonder, is it Black folks? Y'all think this is a game and we are at war. We've been at war for almost 1,000 years now. But you don't believe that, because if you did, you'd understand. The Bible says few people going to survive. And if the righteous scarcely be saved, what shall be the end of those who obey not the gospel? Y'all keep playing if you want. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Love you with the love of Messiah. If you want to support us, you can. Down below, you can see. Our people in trouble. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe that the whole thing going on with Kendrick and Drake is a psyop. I believe that. It happened just like I thought it would, always. First the conflict, then the shooting. Black folks can't get along. Niggas gonna be niggas. That's just how they roll. That's how they think of us. I'm not gonna be nice about this, because that's how dangerous a situation we're in. Like, share, subscribe. Peace out.
Peace.